Okay, let's put out the ascendant first. Let's see her ascendant. So look, she's got all these planets first, second, third house. Cancer rising, July 25th, 59. Her identity conjuncts the sun, December 73, 14. She's going to have a very strong sense of who she is at 14. Then it's going to hit Uranus, conjunct Uranus in 92. And 92, you could put the age, we could have put the ages beside it. It would have been helpful. But I usually hold on to the years and figure out the age, because then we're anchoring it to common reality of all of our dates. It's simpler that way. It hits Uranus July of 92. July 92. Okay, where is she here? Yeah, 69, 79, 89, 30, 33. At 33. So she's got a whole new identity and something becoming really different and wanting to change everything by 92. This goes along by 97. 5 years later, it's conjuncting a Mercury, and her identity is getting more into ideas. This is all in Leo. Her identity is just being lit up during this time. Then it goes along, and it's going to conjunct Pluto and Mars in 2015. It did. In Virgo, that's a different stage. Her identity was Virgo, but she's working. She's a very established, strong work person, but there's a challenge, there's a confrontation coming up this time. What am I going to do? This is 55. Does she have free to 55? Does she work till she's 65? What's she doing? It's her identity. But anyways, by 2026, it'll conjunct the Venus, which is really high emotional time. Of how am I going to be living? What am I going to do? That's up ahead. And 2050 is one of these charts where her ascendants and IC is close to each other. So her progressive ascendant will hit the IC in 2050. That's a really profoundly deep time. The ascendant identifying the identity of effect, the motive. It's going to show up where am I going to live, how am I going to live, how am I living, what's motivating me. The identity catches up to the personal motivation. So this works differently if you're on a spiritual path or working towards God, or if you're not. You would interpret these things differently. That you can't presume, you have to observe it. Really, everybody's working towards getting to God, whether they know it or not. Okay, so like it's so this just shows the descendant was getting all the oppositions. It wasn't about her feedback to other people. She was having to respond, but that was more challenges around relationship side. But in terms of her identity, she's doing everything. She's getting all the conjunctions. She's making everything go. So that shy Cancer ascendant, the Leo with the Cancer ascendant, is getting more and more. It gets more and more Leo and more confident, more and more strong as she goes along in that. Okay, when we get to the IC, her IC starts, it opposes the moon. The moon and the nodes are conjunct in her chart, but it opposes the moon in 1966. So this is when she's 7 years old. So this is a change getting out of school, being in school, something to do with mom home, and some deep impression that came in there. Then it went forward in 1992, which was when she was having the ascendant, if I'm not mistaken. 92, the ascendant was conjunct Uranus. The IC was conjunct Neptune, and the midheaven was opposed Neptune. So she had a lot of confusion and puzzles about home, about motivation, whatever. But her identity was lighting up and doing exciting things. So she's going for the excitement, but she's not getting approval, or to say she's having to break expectations that affected her motivation deeply there. Then it moves along. The next one in 2010, it conjuncted her Jupiter. So she's riding high, she's understanding it's going well, it's opposing the midheaven, but this is about changes around motivation, how I want to live, who am I, what am I doing? And then it's not going to hit anything until 2053 when it hits Saturn. It's always going through the degrees, the hexagrams, the pentans. There's always information to find anywhere along there at any time you do someone's chart. Even if you went to that, you just found the name of the hexagram that was getting there. If you knew the hexagram, suddenly there's a whole nother dialogue if it's useful. But her IC gets conjunctions, her midheaven doesn't. So even though she's really pumped up and doing a lot with her identity, there's deep impressions that affect her inner growth along this way. When you're talking this fast, as soon as I'm doing this, I'm talking quickly, just my quick first impression. Really, I would be working this, I'd be thinking about this a lot longer and relating to talking about it. And this whole thing is just what are you doing this year? This is part of the plan, setting up a plan for a year. And you don't always have time to do this. This is almost a session in itself. For your own chart, it's important to know these things. And you know, once you've known it in your own chart, you can see how and when to use it for other people. If someone doesn't know their time, you're not getting to this level at all. You know, like you have to have your time of birth pretty well secured by the transits, secured by the progressions, to be sure that that angle is correct down to the minute of the degree. And then this becomes alive. Or even within a few minutes of a degree, you're still going to be close. Even within a degree, you'd be close. You know, but the fluctuations become quite dramatic as you go on. Okay, this is the 1 degree, 360, yeah, 360. See, this is 360 degrees done 1 degree at a time. It's possible to do this for 10 minutes a degree at a time, but it would be almost a 2,000-page document. And if we went to 1 minute and 40 seconds, this thing would end up being like 5,000 pages. So this is an abbreviated form of the information we can get. So, okay, her ascendant, her IC just moved into Sagittarius on July 25th this year, just passed. It just switched from 30 years in Scorpio. Her IC is no longer judgmental, it's starting to expand and open up. It's going to hit the Jupiter. Her Jupiter, it squares her Mercury and Uranus, so she had that excitement around her ideas and things. Now she's getting a new understanding. She's assimilating it differently. It's coming to Jupiter rulership, but it's not really hitting anything. It doesn't really, it goes around, okay, sorry. It's going around. When it hits the angles, September 13th is her one meditation date. November 12th, November 22nd is on the midheaven. So this is, an extra zero there, it shouldn't be there, but this is November 29th when it conjuncts the moon, another meditation point. It's the ascendant on March 13th, conjuncts the sun on March 25th. So that puts a powerful focus on March, you know, on these points. Then it's going to conjunct these, then it goes through all these conjunctions along here quite quickly, and it hits the IC, the deepest point where it's all resolving itself, May 22nd. So really, her motivation is like May 22nd to next year, to May 21st, like just because that's moving forward. You're going to get this going around. This is really this from the year to year. It's starting at where the sun point is, but in terms of the houses, when the IC is at its IC, that's the most profound point. That's the point that sets the standard. That's my natal motivation. I'm pushing that out around everything, but I got to do it in terms of this degree that's moving around it. Okay. When I taught classes in person, everybody had to have these calculations done and drawn up and done. And I was looking at it, I'm checking their work and my class was talking about it from their work that they did. In this class, I had to do the charts so that we had them as good examples to look at, and we don't have the feedback of person. So I'm having to just talk loosely to say what I think this is, but just in a way so that it sets a standard for how you think about it yourself. So you can be thinking, then you can go off on your own thinking, oh, but this is just the basic perspective. And there's other aspects, there's squares, there's other aspects, like sextiles, transit can be added into this. You have the degrees, you have the pendants, there's a whole much more. I'm just cutting the main surface to see the main things across a year, you know, across 1 degree of movement in a year, but each day, 4 minutes. So every 4 minutes after you're born, it's affecting a day of your progressed life. 90 years, 90 days, 90 years. But when we're thinking about it, minutes to days, it's strange that there can be so much meaning because we're just living it. And we're in such a shock state when we're just born. We just have the baby. That 3 months is pure adrenaline. And challenge is not like you can control it all. You're just coming into it then you look back and you see the effects of this. That's why it's so significant. If a kid's colic and you have 3 months that are real difficult with the kid, it's going to affect the whole progressions. Okay, now, okay, October 4th, 55, starts with the Aries rising, the Libra with the Aries rising, Taurus moon, and first thing was came out, it opposed the Neptune and the Mercury in 58 and 59. So she had an identity crisis, and her own inner identity was confused and lost in those early years, disassociation. Something confusing or prejudicial or confusing was going on around her. It would cause a disassociative identification to Neptune, Mercury, and it's coming from the 7th house, probably partners, parents, relationships, or whatever, and their expectations to who I am and what am I doing here. 72, it opposed Saturn. So by 72, she's 17, and she's not happy. That identification is hitting the Saturn, father, parents, whatever, and then it's steadily going to go on. It's going to, by 75, it conjuncts the moon, and then we'll square the Pluto. So this is the point where, heck, she could meet someone and want to get together, want to be with someone just to get away from the parents. It's got to be, nothing's going to be worse than this. I got to, like, things got to, like, someone, I can't say. I just seen the identity, the moon, the Saturn. She has moon, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all in here. Pluto squaring the moon too. So it wasn't easy. Her mother didn't have an easy time when she was born. She didn't cook. As she grew up, what am I doing here? It's not easy. But she's still, okay. Then it doesn't really hit it. So it hits the IC in 2022. So she's coming down, her identity is coming to her deepest motivation point. And for her, it's going across the IC. And for me, but this means she's got a focus of, I want to be living where I want to live. I want to be living deeply and living spiritually. She's got to be identifying to where she is. So there's a strong focus of setting this up to be ready for this. That's 2022. That's only 2 years, 3 years away. So this is going to really pick up. So these are really deep, profound, personal times. And sometimes the IC, it's because it is this nerve. In traditional astrology, it's often called, it's the home, but it's often called the end of life point. So sometimes death, the houses of death are the 4th, 8th, and 12th. So sometimes when something hits the ascendant, sometimes it's a trigger someone died, but not always. So you can't just say, oh, it's going to hit there, someone's going to die. No, it's nothing like that. It could be. If someone's hanging around just by a thread, it's likely to happen, and your identification comes there. But it is where you're living, what you're doing. It's not about, it's how you want to live, not about what kind of work you're doing. Does she want to retire by that time? Whoa, interesting concept. But even if she's retired, she's not going to want to sit still because she's got that Aries ascendant. Okay,